this yours?
No,
Your mother said she found it in your closet.
The diamond rings, yeah. You make a lot of money and you make it fast. You get busted, you going straight to a jail cell.
Aquí en la región de Michoacán, comandante aquí del Cártel Jalisco, Nueva Generación, estamos apoyando y estamos en la lucha por liberar los pueblos de nosotros. Somos gente de aquí de las áreas y nos interesa pues, seguir haciendo lo que estamos haciendo y terminar con lo que estamos haciendo.
On the other side of this conflict, the people you're fighting, there's, as we've been told, a group of united cartels who say that they're fighting against you because you're extorting people, you're robbing people. What do you say to what they told us?
En realidad todos los enemigos de nosotros nos conocen y saben que nosotros, a mí no puede haber alguien que diga secuestramos, robamos o extorsionamos. Nosotros no nos dedicamos a eso. Nosotros nos dedicamos, somos narcotraficantes. Nosotros producimos, exportamos y vendemos droga. Eso es de lo que el papá de nosotros hace el dinero. Esa es la empresa de nosotros, ¿verdad? No dependemos en absoluto de una extorsión, de un secuestro, de un cobro de piso, nada de eso.
How do you feel about the people who are civilians who live in these areas we're fighting, who've been displaced? We've met some of them. They've had hard lives who've been affected by this battle.
Esa es la parte más triste de esta historia. La gente de aquí que no sabe, no entiende por qué estamos peleando, no entiende por qué traemos una arma, no entiende por qué andamos de esta manera.
In this episode, we will go back to Mexico to meet Mexico's one of the most sadistic cartels groups of all time, Cartel de Jalisco, Nueva Generación, or CJNG. Nemesio Osuguera Cervantes was born on July 1964 or 1966 in the rural communities of Colutilans in Aguilera, Michoacán, Mexico. Many people believe that Ruben was his birth name, but he changed to Nemesio in the memories of his godfather. Many people are known by their alias El Menchos, a nickname derived from Nemesio's phonetic derivations. Another nickname is El Señor de los Gallos because he loved cockfighting. El Menchos grew up in a low-income family that cultivated avocados. He had 5 brothers, both dropped out of primary schools in 5th grade to work in the field. At the age of 14, he got marijuana. A few years later, he decided that he wanted a better life for himself and immigrated illegally to the United States in the 1980s. In 1986, he lived in the San Francisco Bay Area. He was arrested by the SFPD at the age of 19 for stolen property and carrying a loaded gun. 2 months later, after his arrest, his first child was born. According to the border entry record, El Menchos crossed the US-Mexico border several times during the late 1980s under other alias. The DEA and the Mexican investigator believe that it was during his time that he became involved in meth production and trade in Redwood City, California, alongside his brother-in-law, also known as El Cuinis. In 1989, he was arrested for selling narcotics and deported to Mexico several months later, but he was re-entered the US and resettled in San Francisco in September of 1992. He was arrested again on federal drug charges in Sacramento, California. However, he was getting arrested again by the undercover cops. After 3 years, he was released from prison on parole and deported to Mexico at 30. In Mexico, he joined the local police force of Cabo Corrientes and Tomalins in the state of Jalisco. After some time, he left the police and joined organized crime as a full-time member of the Millennials Cartel. In the Millennials Cartel, El Mencho started as a member of the Sicario squads that protected the drug lord Armando Valencia Corteono, alias El Maradona. On 12th of August 2003, his boss was arrested by Mexican authorities. Around the same time, a rival criminal group known as Los Zetas, with the backing of the Gulf Cartel, carried out an armed offensive against the Molinos cartels in Michoacán. The attack forced the Valencia family to exile in Jalisco. El Mencho relocated in the state capital, Guadalajara with his father-in-law, Jose Luis Gonzalez Valencia, alias El Queenie, and Roman Calabriano Valencia in Jalisco. El Menchos and the Melinos cartels formed an alliance with the Sinaloa cartel subgroup headed by Ignacio Nacho Coronel, a high-ranking drug lord and allies of Joaquim El Chapo Guzman under Colonel. El Menchos and his group managed the Sinaloa cartel drug operation, finances, and murder activities in Colima and Jalisco. However, on the 28th of October 2009, El Lobo was arrested, and 1 year later, El Tigre was arrested too. 2 months later, Nacho Coronel was killed in a shootout with the Mexican army. Following their downfall, the Melinos cartel ruptured and El Mencho tried to take over its leadership structure. That led to Melinos cartel splitting into two gangs, the La Resistencia and Los Torritos. Eventually, a full-blown civil war between the two cartels erupted. El Menchos knew he wanted to stop this brutal cartels conflict, so he sent a sicario to kidnap the two leaders of La Resistencia and Los Torritos and brought them to him. After that, the two leaders of La Resistencia and Los Torritos were kicked into the hole and poured a hot tar on the two leaders of La Resistencia and Los Torritos while they were alive and shot with a single bullet from a Beretta pistol to the head. Both of them were murdered. Then El Mencho ruled Jalisco with an iron fist, and the gang that is known as Los Matasetas was born, and later that year changed to Cartel de Jalisco Nueva Generación. The CJNGs became a cartel organization. They did a business such as smuggling fentanyl from Hong Kong. There were rumors that El Menchos traveled to Hong Kong to meet one of the business people from mainland China. That businessman, his name was Senji Li Gong. Senji Li Gong was a businessman from Shanghai who owned a meth and fentanyl labs in Mexico. Senji Li was a ruthless businessman. Nevertheless, he had a connection with the Chinese triads and the Japanese Yakuza. So El Menchos and Senji Li Gong became friends, and El Menchos smuggled out tens of thousands of meth and amphetamine from Hong Kong to Mexico. In 2011, the CJNG declared war on all other Mexican cartels and stated its intentions to make control of the cities of Guadalajara. However, by midsummer, the group appeared to have been reunited with a former partner in the Sinaloa cartel. In addition to maintaining its anti-Zetas alliance with the Gulf cartels, the Sinaloa cartels 2011 affiliated with the Knights Templar in Michoacan to counter Los Zetas in the states of the Jalisco. The Sinaloa cartel affiliated itself with the Jalisco New Generation cartel. On the 20th of September 2011, the two children who played football found two trucks containing 35 dead bodies and an underpass near a shopping mall in Boca del Rio, Veracruz. Other corpses were alleged to be members of the Los Zetas gangs, but it later proved that it had involved only 6 in minor crime incidents, and they were involved none with organized crime. From 2011 to 2012, CJNG committed a series of massacres against the rival cartel, many of whom were child sicario.
Mexico's government claims the New Generation cartel of Jalisco used rocket-propelled grenades last Friday to bring down this army helicopter, killing 6 soldiers.
We heard a boom, like a bomb. They took down the aircraft. They took it down.
Mexico's interior minister says the shootdown comes as the Mexican government launches an offensive against the drug trafficking organization. In a news conference this week, the interior minister tried to calm citizens, choosing to aim his message directly at the cartel leadership.
There is no criminal group capable of beating the determination of citizens and their government to build a society free of violence.
The New Generation cartel blocked roads on May 1st with burning vehicles in at least 32 municipalities in Jalisco state and the states of Colima, Guanajuato, and Michoacan. A security analyst says this is the first time a drug trafficking organization has used rocket-propelled grenades against a Mexican military aircraft.
They have the capacity to use firepower, the capacity to organize, and very probably they have infiltrated government security agencies.
Government officials say in April the cartel killed at least 15 state police in an ambush. In February, a leader of the new generation cartel of Jalisco, Abigail Gonzalez Valencia, alias El Queenie, was arrested in Puerto Vallarta. The current head, Nemesio Osuguera Cervantes, is still at large, and the organization is said to involve hundreds of low-level operatives. Frank Contreras, CCTV, Mexico City.
The CJNG became internationally well known after they brought down a military helicopter with an RPG that came from the regions of Chechnya in Russia, and the sheer brutality of the cartel. Like the Khmer Rouge and the Ustache, the CJNG glorify violence and sadistic torture methods, but especially the CJNGs love to make snuff videos as a propaganda against rival cartels and people who opposite to them. One of the most horrific videos shows a group of the CJNG sicarios blowing two men with dynamite, one boy and one man. Some witnesses say that the CJNGs will eat human organs because they believe it was a potion for healing. In 2016, the CJNGs plans to kidnap El Chapo's sons, but it's failed. The DEA and CIA now investigated the CJNG's activity with the help of the CJNG's defector. However, most of the defectors were murdered by CJNGs. One of the notable victims is El Cholo. El Cholo was tortured and murdered to death in August of 2017. By 2019, Jorge Luis Mendoza Cardenas, alias La Carrera, was listed by the DEA as being in charge of the CJNG's trafficking operation to the United States and served as the CJNG's elections. In January of 2020, senior CJNG sicarias Maria Guadalupe Lopez Esquena, alias La Catina, was get murdered following a shootout with the police. La Catina, also known as Dame of Death, was suspected for being the CJNG's leader in Mexico, Terra Quedantes Legion. In March of 2020, it was announced that a secret 6-month DEA operation known as Operation Python resulted in the arrest of 600 CJNGs operated and the seizures of $20 billion in cash. In the following years, many people wanted elementals and CJNGs to be destroyed, but however, CJNGs was quite to be ruthless and notorious. They having several military weapons like the AK-47 and M16, and especially the CJNGs love to hire some of the former Mossad agents and ex-FARC soldiers to train the CJNGs to fight against the rival cartels and the Mexican government. However, on the 15th of November 2021, with the arrest of El Mencho's wife, Rosalinda Gonzalez Valencia, alias La Jefa, was in control of the CJNG's finances, and in 2022, many people believed that El Mencho was dead. Quite to be known about that El Mencho suffered his personal health issues. However, about that, was a fake. Especially, El Mencho was quite to be he one of the most notorious drug lords of all time, and to this day, CJNGs was one of the most violent and psychopathic cartels groups of all time. And quite to be known about that the CJNGs was quite to be brutal. Many people didn't saw El Mencho's face, or even having a videos about El Mencho's. Unlike Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, El Mencho's was quite to be act like ghosts. However, about that, the only thing that many people believe that there was an audio records that El Mencho speaks. These audio records quite to be believed that El Mencho threatening a police officers that he will blow a police stations in Guadalajara.
Pues por eso me extraña, cabrón. Yo te entiendo, güey, pero pues no mames, yo sé que tienes gente y la familia y la chingada. Verga, póngase las putas pilas.
Yo lo sé, señor. Nada más
no quiero que me apagues este puto teléfono. Después te voy a marcar, güey. A ver si no se relajaron a la verga, ¿eh?
No, ahorita le voy a marcar.
A todos en general, güey. Relájenmelos a la verga, por favor.
Ahorita le voy a marcar de otro número, a este número que me está marcando.
No, este ya no le vuelvas a marcar. Yo le marco cuando yo pueda.
Ándale, pues.
Pero no me lo apague porque lo voy a entender como negatividad.
No, señor. Ahorita le mando un mensaje de otro número para que no marque el otro.
Órale, pues, Melón. Ahí les quiero eso, que se relajen a la verga.
Sí, señor. Usted me conoce. Usted sabe que hay respeto y hay amistad. Nada más.
Ya está, igualmente. De aquí para allá también. Ahí disculpen por las malas palabras.
Aquí los muchachos son los que están allá y ahorita yo se los agrupo.
Ahora pues, ahí le encargo.
Ándale, sí.
Ahí relájenmelos a todos, dígale que va de parte mía.
Claro que sí, señor.
Ya está.
Ándale.
Ahí.
And that is the video. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe to the new OM24. If some parts were inaccurate, then I will apologize about that. And goodbye.